Okay, welcome back guys again. And for this second tutorial, we're going to be continuing our progress in our Love 2D project called Interim. As you can see, it's already open. What we did last time is that we created our basic base engine and then we displayed hello world. So I removed the hello world here, as you can see, and then let's start by making for this part we're going to be focusing on displaying or rendering or drawing a simple representation of our player, which is will be a square. So first of all, let's create a what we can do is I'm going to be teaching you a simple way on how to do that. Let's say this is a simple and not necessarily bad way of doing things. This could, if you will be making small objects, this will be a simple way on doing that. But if you're going to make a player which is has a lot of things, you don't want this method. Okay, so first we're going to create a player table, and then we're going to say x is equals to 32, y is equal to 32. So we're going to uh, give its value here, so like that. Because we created a player table, x, y, and width and height. So if we want to draw that uh, square guy, let's just say set color. We will draw him as a red. He will be red ranger or square, and then rectangle will be filled with red color. Then we pass the parameter here. As you can see, I will explain this to you. Player that width and then player that height. As you can see, we've created here the table, and all its x, y, width, and height value is locally in that table only. So we need to access those values using dot operators to the table, and then dot. Then inside that is the value that we want. So this should draw things. As you can see, draw square, but this is not. You can do that simple drawing, but let's say we want to create another player. We're going to do this method again. We're going to say create another table, but this time name this. We're going to copy that, and then let's say player 2. Then let's change x to be 128, and then if we want to draw that again, as you can see there, it's a lot of code, right? Let me just finish this. Player 1, player 1, player 1, player 1, and then attempt to index player 1. It should be player 2. What? How did I miss that? Should be okay. So there you go. We draw two player. But what if we want to move? And so we will provide two function. We will say function player and then move. Then another one for the player 2 function player 1 move, like that. So as you can see, that's a lot of code. What if we're going to code an enemy, and then oh no, there it's not a single enemy. What if there's it's a mob? There's like a hundred or a hundred of enemies. So are we going to do enemy 1, enemy 2, enemy 3? So that's not good, right? So what we want to do is create, like in this base engine, we're going to create a class to handle our entities. So that's going to be a module. So it's going to be in our modules folder, and then class. Let's rename that class, and then local class is a table as always, and return that. then function, we're going to create an, an empty function like that. I will explain to you why. Then extend, or in Java it's like derive or something, and then create another one called function call. So this is like in our engine, base engine class. It's a what do you call that? It has meta methods, meta tables. So first of all, for what is the new one or the new function, so that will be empty for now, because in our derive function we're going to say a local table, then return that table, and then that table, basically a class will make other entities, making other entities easier, because a class or any object in Lua is like a table but with methods and functions and like that. So the class will handle all of that. We're going to use class extend most of the time. So we will create a player, let's say a player. From here we're going to get everything from here. We're going to say class extend and then the player or the class that we want, and then pass everything in that player, in that in that player class, into this table that will be returned. So that will be a new instance. It's hard to explain, but I will, if you see the example later, that will be easier. So class call, and then we need the index of this, and then set meta table will be the table, and then pass self. So where is the self? Self is invisible behind name because we use the colon, as I have explained on the previous video. And then our class call meta table, going to, then the self, also the self is invisible, but basically the self here is the class table, and then this is what the empty function class new does. This the new, as we already see here, class call is a method or meta method that if you make if you call a table like a function, you put like here, this is a table, require source name is a table, and then I've directly or quickly uh, use that like as like a function, but it's a table. This uh, meta method call will be called by the extend. So basically, if you want to create a player, we're going to create in our entities folder player.lua. What we can say is require first that class, and then modules class, then local player. As you can see, instead of making a table and then return that table, we're going to say, or what we're going to do is to class and then extend and then player. See? So why, you might be asking or thinking, why we didn't just remove this class and then just do player and then table like that? Because we can add more methods here in function or in the base class. Let's say function class uh, get name, right? We can make that, we can make this function, and then this function will be passed into every other object or instances that will be derived or that will inherit from this base class. So instead of using the other method, just using a empty table for the player, we're going, well, let's say we have 3 classes, and then we want 3 classes to have this get name. So instead of using 3 classes to have and repeat this function, we can just put this function into the base class, and then this will be inherited by the 3 classes. I hope you understand me, because I'm not good explaining, especially in English. I don't know why. Okay, so functions. So the important function in this class, or in any other class we will derive or extend, is the new function, because this will act as the call meta method. The meta method will search for this. So let's create a function, and then our focus for today is just draw the player. For the next video, that will be for the movement. You can see this new function will take 4 parameters. This will be the position, then the width and height. We can make these vectors, but we will discuss that later, or in the next video, I guess. So first of all, each instance of player will have its own x and y and height and width variables. As I've mentioned before, if we did I mention this? Oh no, I don't, but I will explain it. I will explain it now. If we didn't use the self uh, self self syntax here, or self variable here, if we create 3 players from this class, if we move one player or one instance, the others will also move. So we don't want that. We want each object or each instance created from this class to be on its own. So we need this self. So don't forget the colon here. If you don't want colon, you can use this kind of this method, then layer xy with height. So okay, so this commented function will work similarly, like will work, I mean, the same like this one. So I don't know about you, but for me this one is better. Okay, and then we want to draw that player. So love that graphics, that set color. So what color do you want it to be? Red again. It's going to be Red Ranger. I know that Ranger 2017 movie sucks. I don't know why that destroyed my childhood. And then fill that square, and then self. Don't forget the self, okay? Self that y, self that width, self that height. Okay, so we created our player entity, and if we want to use that, we need to require that here. Say player is equals to require entities folder, and then player. And then if we want to create an instance of that, we will the variable name player, let's say player1 equals to player variable of the module or the entity, and then these 2 parentheses. This will call the new function here. So let's say we want to draw on with on 32 points and 32 by 32 size. Okay, and then we want to draw that, so let's draw that after the scale, because we specifically use scale. Then player one dot object and then draw function. If we run that, we should see the red box here. Cool. So this is the good thing about entities, is that we can make another one, and that will be different on its own. Let's say 48, 48. So two of those, each of those will be different from one another. See, the other one is here, but this is not good, right? Let's say we made up to player 100. That wait, that's a pretty good idea. A game where you control 100 players, or there are 100 players in a certain game. Multiplayer game, I guess. Nah, Minecraft does that. So this will be short demo of how we achieve a player object. And for the next video, I think, okay, we will make a vector functionality. Next, vectors will work the same as like it's an object, but that will be useful. Instead of using two values here, like for x and y, we can just say one vector that contains the x and y, because a vector is a x and y point in a graph, right? So that will be pretty useful. Okay, then after that, if we have time, after that vector class making, make we're going to add a movement functionality to our player object. So be sure to subscribe so you can see more videos on the future. So see ya, and have a lovely, pun intended, day to all of you lovers there. See ya.